Hey everyone, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in to Relevant Jukebox, and today I'm back with another video in my Hidden Gem series where I cover records that I feel are a little bit overlooked, maybe have a cult following, or just deserve a little bit more attention because of how awesome they are. And today we're going to cover the legendary album from Gustavo Cerati, Bocanada. So this is the second studio full-length album from the Argentinian singer-songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, composer, producer, Gustavo Cerati, who got his start in one of the most famous Latin American rock bands of all time, Soda Stereo. Now, I am aware that Gustavo and his band Soda Stereo have a really large following around the world, but I grew up in the United States, and honestly, I didn't really hear them or Gustavo's work really mentioned too much in the music circles that I was a part of. Also, I'm not really an active member on any music forums or Rate Your Music or anything like that, which I'm sure this gets a lot more attention, but I'm still going to mention it because I think this album is amazing. Now, this album came out in 1999, and it was fully written, mixed, and produced by Gustavo. And to my knowledge, he played all of the instruments on here as well, minus the drums and bass on a couple of the tracks. And the results is this, like, electronic-tinged neo-psychedelic rock opus that has a trip-hop influence hanging over it in spots. And I mean, I absolutely love the way that this album kicks off with the track Taboo. All of the shimmering guitar chords and snappy drums with the nimble bass line and Gustavo's voice all coming together makes me feel like I'm in the opening scene of like a Quentin Tarantino film or something. It's a pretty exciting opening to this record that doesn't necessarily suggest where it's gonna go though. I mean, if anything, I get a lot of like Radiohead vibes when I'm listening to this. Also, if there's one band that I think there could be some crossover appeal to, it would be Deer Hunter. Not that this album necessarily sounds like Deer Hunter or anything like that, but I do think the way that he combines his influences is kind of similar to the way that Deer Hunter presents it on some of their earlier records. The track Engaña is definitely the best example of this. There's just like wonderfully dreamy vibe that comes off of it with this really awesome acoustic guitar lead that is like a dead ringer for something that Deer Hunter might write. I mean, that along with like the really smoky and like gentle beat. I mean, I don't know, maybe this might have been an influence for Deer Hunter. I have no idea. But another big standout on this record for me was the track Beautiful, which is pretty much exactly that. I love the really like subterranean feel that this track has with this very melancholy vibe. And there's this like sample of what sounds like some kind of like ship like alarm going off or something as it's like sinking into the ocean. It's kind of strange. And I mean, the trippy beat does give me a lot of like Portishead vibes. But this record isn't just an exercise in trip hop by any means. It's actually a pretty varied sounding release. Like on the track Paseo Immoral, which I don't know if I'm really saying that right, but the rock influences on that track get turned up to like 11.
If you can see, yeah, the numbers all go to 11.
And it's also got this like driving beat carrying it like it was lifted out of a stadium rock anthem or something. And I mean, this album is just not short of interesting sounds and textures either, like on the title track, where the beat is made up of some like pretty metallic sounding drums, but then it's also got this like kind of obscured sample that's like smeared into the mix that what sounds like it's coming from like a choir or an orchestra of strings or something. I'm not really sure what the hell it is. And I mean, those strings show up in multiple spots again, like on the track Rio Babel, which has another awesome driving beat and really standout bass line to it that I enjoy quite a bit. But I mean, I could go on like all day about this record here. I mean, it's chock full of highlights front to back, and especially towards the end where, you know, things take a turn and become a lot stranger, a little bit more electronic. So I mean, overall, this record is fantastic. I think it's just got such a great vibe to it as well that's captured perfectly by the cover art image. And I mean, if you're a huge fan of like 90s rock and electronic, I mean, this is a must listen if you haven't heard it already. And thankfully, this is on vinyl. I do not own it yet, though, unfortunately. But in 2015 and 2016, Sony Music had released it multiple times on different variants. Not necessarily the easiest thing to track down in the world, but not the hardest either. But there wasn't ever an official US pressing that was released. So fingers crossed that that might happen at some time in the future, so it's a little bit easier for everyone to get a pressing if you live in the US. But yeah, if you have listened to Bocanada before, what did you think about it? Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and share. And if you want more content from me, hit that subscribe button. Peace.